Heroin is up and coming. For the past 2 years now, we've seen a huge increase in the amounts of heroin that we're purchasing and seizing out on the streets. We're seeing brown heroin and also black tar. More so the brown, all walks of life. Everybody's using heroin. There's no boundaries on heroin today. You find it in your poorest and your richest communities. It's everywhere.
As in many parts of the country, the Cleveland, Ohio area is seeing tragic consequences for some of the people who smoke, shoot, or snort heroin.
The numbers tell the story. In 2007, we had 40 individuals who died as a result of heroin, either by itself or in combination with other drugs. What we notice at the end of 2011 is that number is up to 107. For 2012, we're almost to the end of the year. Our projection is the number is going to be somewhere in the high 150s, 160 range. That's a fourfold increase. That's very dramatic for any one drug in isolation. I can't help these poor individuals who've already died and come here. But what I really wanted to do was to ring the bell that this is a serious problem. The people who've come here, that's it, they've played their whole hand down. And what I want to do as a public health officer is, kind of take their sad experience and maybe, intervene with somebody further up the road so they don't drive the train all the way to the last stop and crash.
So with the desire to stop the deaths from heroin, the medical examiner sounded an alarm.
This is a public health emergency, so I started to reach out to people in public health and say, are you aware of this? Are you, looking at this? Have you seen this trend? And I think that one of the people who I reached out to was the head of the opiate task force.
We always focus on fatalities. Everything's focused on fatalities. But when you look at it from a public health perspective, for that one fatality, there's a percentage of people that are in treatment. There's a percentage of people that went to the emergency room. And it's sad, because nobody just starts out going out for heroin. Heroin is not a recreational drug. In many cases, going from one to the other, I don't know if it's necessarily to get high anymore, but to get off the dope sickness that's associated with addiction to the prescription pain pills.
Heroin is cheaper than prescription opiates and often easier to get, especially after May 2011 when Ohio began cracking down on prescription painkillers.
In many cases, what we actually have seen over the past couple of years is, as we've kind of addressed certain issues with the pill mills, people that were addicted had no other way to go. They needed to find some other fix, which eventually is heroin.
So putting the squeeze on the pills is inadvertently causing an increase in heroin use.
So when you're talking about the heroin and prescription opiate problem, when you're in a place that has a plentiful prescription opiate supply, the prescription opiates are up here and the heroin is down here. When you push down on the prescription opiates, it's going to pop up. The heroin's going to pop up. When you push down on the heroin, the prescription opiates are going to pop up. It's kind of like the whack-a-mole game. So that's what's going to happen. As you push down on one, the other one's going to pop up.
At one time, the Opiate Task Force just focused on prescription drugs. Now its role has expanded. Cuyahoga County is now trying to tackle all opiate abuse, whether it is the abuse of legal painkillers used in an illegal way or illicit heroin.
We're trying to stay ahead of the curve if we can. The problem is certainly very big and overwhelming sometimes, but you got to do what you can. That's one of the nice things here is we do have a lot of partnerships already formed, and we've known about the opiate epidemic since at least 2007. So we were already gearing up for that. So we already have the infrastructure in place to deal with, sort of the next thing that comes along, which is nice. I mean, we got prevention at the table, we got law enforcement, we got treatment, we got public health. All four of those branches are at the table.
As far as educating the public is concerned, the members of the task force have their work cut out for them. Many people don't seem to think heroin use could happen to them or to their kids.
And we know from talking to kids, from having discussions with kids, asking them, could you ever imagine that you would use heroin? And they say, no, I would never use heroin. When you then ask, but 18% of our kids report using a prescription drug, a pain medicine, in the past year that was not prescribed to them. That's where we're finding the gap, is that the misconception and the misunderstanding of the link between taking a prescription drug, an opioid, and then developing an addiction on this end, and then turning to heroin because it's cheaper, because they can't get the prescription drug anymore to feed the addiction. I just don't think that people understand addiction to prescription drugs and that link and how quickly that can happen.
The heroin epidemic in the Cuyahoga County area isn't just an inner-city problem. The black outline on the map is the city of Cleveland. The darker areas are outside the city limits, but still in the county. The darker the color on the map, the more deaths in that area.
People are dying out in the suburbs, and they're abusing drugs in the suburbs. It's not like they're pouring into the city to buy drugs, using them there, and dying them there. That would be a complete misconception.
It's a misconception that could be deadly.
There are several cities that have blinders, and they see what they want to see, but the truth of the matter is our unit goes everywhere in this county, and we can find it wherever it is. And there are no boundaries to heroin. It's everywhere.